Welcome back to another episode of Jason's Bricks in 5, where we discuss LEGO content in videos of around 5 minutes. Well, today we have another Pantasy set review, and this is one, my wife was actually really excited when she saw this. We really liked the retro line. This was one that they had offered, and she's like, I want to see that. I really want to build that. So we got this set, we got it built, and I have to say, I was actually pretty pleasantly surprised with this set. So the set is really just kind of a miniature jukebox. It really kind of reminded me of like one of those novelty, tabletop jukeboxes that people might find. And it's got kind of some neat features to it that I don't think we've really seen before. So the first thing is, let me plug it in here. It actually has a USB plug, and you can see it has a light that goes around the outside just like a regular jukebox. So really kind of a neat eye-catching display. So you can plug that in, to any USB. I have a power box, so I don't have to use an extension cord. But really just kind of gives it that neat, real authentic vibe, I guess. And it's kind of interesting because it's got these custom parts that actually hold the light strip in place, as well as some of these other pieces that are different than anything I've ever seen in another build. They're molded and designed specifically for this. So it's kind of neat. It's got some other features on it as well. It's got all of the pad printed parts. So just like we've seen with all of the other Pantasy sets, there's no stickers on this. Everything that has an image is printed. And some of these we've seen where they actually will put the plates, or tiles I should say, on a plate and then print them. So there's not even seams in the printing. So the printing looks really good. I think they've done a great job here. And we've got, some of the selection buttons up here. Now it is, generic. It doesn't list specific artists. It has, number 1 is rock, number 2, electronic, etc. But that's not where it stops, because you can actually hit the button here and it will actually move the record over, which is really kind of a neat feature. It's pretty simple how it works. It really just goes back and forth. It doesn't have any impact on, the functionality, but it's kind of a neat little feature that you can just make that go back and forth. The other thing that is really kind of neat is there's this button here, and if you press it, it actually plays music. So there's a sound box in there that's connected. Now that is battery operated. It's not tied to the USB. You can press it again and make it stop. So it is not powered by the USB. It's actually powered by 3 small button batteries. I think they're the LR44 batteries. And one thing to note is those are not included in here. Now, I did ask the Pantasy representative about that, if they were supposed to be included, and he said actually they could not ship them from China into the US. So that is one thing to be aware of. If you get this set, you will want to have those batteries in advance, because you build that sound box and it's encased in there. Not that you couldn't get to it, but it'll probably make it easier if you have it at the time of building that. The other thing I'll point out as well, just while I'm on that topic, so on the box it says that it is a USB-C outlet. That's not actually the case. It's actually a standard USB. Not a problem, they're fairly common, but I did want to make sure that was called out, because it does say that on the box, and they had told me that it was a misprint. So they'll try to get that fixed in the future, but just so you are aware, it is that. So a couple things about it. It does have an option to insert the coins. So they are little 2x2 round tiles. They're printed, and you can just put those right on in there, just like that. And then there's the option down here where you can retrieve those coins. This part flips open. So, but that's not where it stops. Let me go ahead and turn this around, because, so if we turn it around, what you will see is they actually have a little band scene in here. So you can actually open up the clear doors, and you can see there is a performer here. It is one of the new style Pantasy figures, but it's a whole little band setup. There's a keyboard, there's some drums back there, and I think it's just kind of a neat little addition rather than having a paneled empty space. They've added that in there, and just provides a little bit of you know, kind of additional life to the set. So really kind of a neat little set. And I will call out also all of the chrome silver pieces. You know, they really add to the set. They make it look really good. And that's what we've kind of come to see as one of the you know, the trademarks is the chrome gold or chrome silver on a lot of these fantasy sets. And this one doesn't disappoint in any way. So overall, I think it's a good build. I was actually really surprised by it. You know, I have found that a lot of these builds, they're probably not geared towards, you know, beginners or young children. They're geared, you know, more towards someone that's maybe an intermediate. And that's probably where I'd put this one. I wouldn't say it's necessarily, you know, the hardest one that I've built, but it certainly is not something that a young child would be able to do, at least without some help. So just something to be aware of there. So yeah, that's going to do it for my review. I'd like to thank Pantasy for sending me this complimentary copy of the set to review. I will provide a link if you're interested where you can check that out on their Amazon site in the US, as well as a discount code if it's something you're interested in. But I'm not being compensated in any other way other than the complimentary set. So yeah, so that's going to do it for our review on the jukebox. The discount code, by the way, I thought was kind of funny. The code is Jukebox in 5. So a little play on Jason's Bricks in 5, I guess. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on another episode of Jason's Bricks in 5. Happy building!